The cast's off-screen scandals will ruin your childhood memories. I know, Full House was supposed to be comfort food television. Wholesome, warm, family-friendly. Danny Tanner cleaning the house with a feather duster, Uncle Jesse rocking a mullet, and Joey doing goofy impressions in the kitchen. But behind the hugs, life lessons, and "you got it, dude" catchphrases, things weren't so picture-perfect. Not even close. From drug arrests to unexpected deaths, feuds, lawsuits, and behavior that wouldn't fly today, the behind-the-scenes story of Full House is way messier than the sitcom let on. If you're new here and love digging up the darker, forgotten side of pop culture, hit subscribe and let's uncover what really happened at the Tanner house. Let's jump into the dark truth behind Full House. Let's start with Bob Saget, aka Danny Tanner, America's clean-cut, obsessive-compulsive TV dad. But off-screen, he was nothing like Danny. Bob Saget was known in the comedy world for being one of the dirtiest, most inappropriate stand-up comics in the business. His jokes were raunchy, really raunchy, and if you've ever seen his routines or his infamous bit in The Aristocrats, you know what I mean. So while kids saw him as this squeaky clean father figure, adults in the industry were like, oh, if only they knew. Saget himself admitted the contrast was weird. He'd do a Full House taping and then hit the comedy clubs at night with material that would definitely get you canceled today. He once joked that Full House was the dirtiest show on television, not because of what aired, but because of what happened between takes. He'd riff off-color jokes, drop F-bombs, and prank the cast constantly. It's safe to say if social media existed back then, the internet would have had a field day with Danny Tanner. Then there's John Stamos, Uncle Jesse himself. John had that clean, cool image, but in real life, he went through a pretty rough patch in the early 2000s. In 2015, Stamos was arrested for driving under the influence and later admitted to battling alcohol addiction. He described it as a wake-up call and eventually got help, but it showed the cracks in the image fans had of him. Even during the Full House years, Stamos was pushing back against the show's corniness. He hated how cheesy it was, saying in interviews that he was embarrassed by it at times. In fact, he tried to get the Olsen twins fired during the first season. Yep, the same Olsen twins who became billion-dollar fashion moguls. He thought they cried too much and disrupted filming. Luckily for them, the producers didn't listen. But it's just another reminder that even the most lovable characters had real-life friction brewing off camera. Speaking of the Olsen twins, Mary-Kate and Ashley were basically Full House's secret weapon. Adorable, funny, and insanely marketable. But they were also literal toddlers thrown into the spotlight. By the time they were 10, they were running an empire, with movies, clothing lines, dolls, magazines, all while still acting. But behind the scenes, the pressure was unreal. In the years after Full House, both sisters struggled publicly with eating disorders, anxiety, and the dark side of fame. Mary-Kate even went to rehab at just 18. They rarely do interviews and have openly admitted that being child stars left lasting scars. They also chose not to be part of the reboot, Fuller House, something fans noticed right away. And honestly, can you blame them? They grew up in front of millions of people, judged, scrutinized, and expected to be perfect. Dave Coulier played Joey, the goofy, lovable uncle who lived in the alcove. But his biggest moment in pop culture might have come after the show ended, and it had nothing to do with comedy. Remember Alanis Morissette's 1995 hit, You Oughta Know, the angry breakup anthem that became iconic? Well, rumor has it, it's about Dave Coulier. Yep, Mr. Cut It Out himself. He and Alanis dated when she was 18 and he was in his 30s, which already raises eyebrows.
It was what it was.
Yeah.
You know, we dated and she was writing all of that Jagged Little Pill stuff.
And while he denied the connection for years, he later admitted he thought the song was about him. Talk about a whiplash moment. From children's TV sidekick to the guy who broke Alanis Morissette's heart. Can't make this stuff up. Candace Cameron Bure, who played DJ, has had a very public second act, starring in Hallmark films and becoming a face of Christian entertainment. But she's also stirred plenty of controversy in recent years. Her outspoken political and religious views have clashed with other cast members.
They had a problem with the actual ceremony because the ceremony is what conflicted with their religious belief.
Especially when Fuller House was in production. She made headlines for criticizing LGBTQ+ representation in films and networks, and fans were divided. Some praising her honesty, others calling her views out of touch. Even some of her Full House co-stars seemed to distance themselves quietly. Behind the smiling DJ Tanner was a very opinionated, polarizing figure, and fans started to realize that the family-friendly image wasn't the whole story. So yeah, for a show that preached values, Full House had more than its share of real-life drama. A dad who told filthy jokes off camera, a heartthrob with DUIs and beef with babies, child stars pushed into fame before they could speak full sentences, and a breakup anthem that might have been written about one of the uncles. It was a wholesome sitcom on the outside, but a very Hollywood story underneath. And that's the part we don't always talk about. So next time you rewatch Full House, just remember, the off-screen drama might make you see those hugs and life lessons a little differently. And if you're into uncovering the real stories behind your favorite old shows, the awkward, the scandalous, the stuff that never made it into reruns, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're just getting started with the darker side of nostalgia. Until next time, stay curious and stay nostalgic. So, next time you sit down to rewatch Full House, maybe you're flipping through old episodes or just chasing that warm, fuzzy feeling from your childhood. Remember this, behind every laugh track, every life lesson, and every cheesy group hug, there was a very different story unfolding once the camera stopped rolling. Bob Saget wasn't just Danny Tanner. He was telling jokes that would make your grandma faint.
My father is amazing, 70 years old. No, he's not, he's 77. Okay, he's 98 and he looks 14.
John Stamos wasn't just the cool uncle. He was pushing producers and partying hard. The Olsen twins, they weren't just adorable toddlers.
You got it, dude.
They were child stars bearing the weight of an empire before they even hit puberty. And that wholesome family dynamic, it wasn't always so wholesome behind the scenes. That's the thing about nostalgia. It's comforting until you start peeling it back. And when you do, what you find is rarely as perfect as you remembered. But that's what makes it interesting. This channel is all about that, digging into the stories no one wanted to talk about at the time. The scandals, the feuds, the strange, sometimes heartbreaking realities of your favorite shows and stars. So if you're someone who loves uncovering the raw truth behind the shiny TV veneer, if you enjoy seeing childhood icons in a new, more complicated light, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, tap the bell, and join the community of viewers who aren't afraid to revisit the past. Even when it gets messy, there's a lot more where this came from. Until next time, stay curious, stay nostalgic, and never trust a sitcom smile at face value.